Okay, I'm going to kick it off with a win. Not for me, but from one of our listing sprint participants. She had actually participated in our inaugural deal sprint following the 3-step blueprint. Find a deal to use as bait, use that bait to reach out to buyers, make offers either on the bait or make offers on behalf of the buyers on other transactions. Wendy texted me around 6 o'clock last night. Buddy! Exclamation point. I knew something good was coming. I had to mute a few times to take calls during the sprint today. I need to catch up a bit. But hit 34. So she reached out to 34 sellers during our listings, or I'm sorry, during the Closers Cafe yesterday. So she was working as I was working, which is what I would recommend for many of you. She said, I hit 34 looking for properties for a $1.4 million buyer that she has in her hand, okay, in her buyer hand. That was a buyer I think she got posting on social, either that from a networking group. She said, from the 34, I got one reply. They aren't selling, but the neighbors plan to move. Bingo, called, spoke with the seller, setting a showing for this week, probably 1.1 million-ish. Then I reached out to a prior client. He's a cash buyer and owns a ton of stuff. Happens to have a duplex he wants to sell. Sean hops in a car, should be signing a listing tonight at $350K. So Sean, was that tonight or last night? Sean's nodding.
Yeah, so I met with him last night. He said, I'm at the property. If you want to swing by, I'm here. I'm like, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And I went there, and the first conversation, the start of the conversation was of me bringing a buyer to him and him acting as a FSBO. And then I started talking about our different, listing on the market programs. And then I reminded him how strong with the new laws are with commissions.
Yep. And
he's like, oh my God, I totally forgot. I was like, we can totally utilize that for negotiating. And he's like, it was just listed. I'm like, it kind of shocked me because he's got like 15 plus mega houses around the lake.
Yeah.
And he also told me about a $3 million home that he's open to taking offers on as well last night. But yeah, so I told Wayne, like, we got to do pictures and measurements ASAP because he wants it on the market this weekend.
Listen, money follows speed and time kills all deals. Money follows speed and time kills all deals. That's your mindset for today. Write that down. Money follows speed and time kills all deals. When you got somebody who's ready to go, don't talk them out of it. Like, go. And that's like, you drop everything to make that happen, to close the loop on that, because that's the business. You can go back and fix other things that you may have dropped that aren't as far along in the process, that aren't as far along in the pipeline. So that's great. Some more context on that. Wendy also said, I already had him as a relationship, meaning she already had a relationship with him, but I called him looking to see if he wanted to pick up any of our recent off-market properties that she has now in her. So she's got a hand, she and Sean have a hand of off-market sellers, okay, cards of off-market sellers, and then in the other hand have ready-to-go buyers, some of them retail, some of them investor, some of them looking for a second home because they're in that kind of market, right? Anyway, she reached out to him. She had a reason to reach out, right? She wasn't just like, checking in. Just checking in. How's it going? Just following up. Nobody wants that. Or so to look if she was connecting or looking to see if he wanted to pick up any of the off-market deals that they have available or sell anything as a result of what they've been doing with Lead Deck. No match, but landed the listing. Then she had a $400,000 buyer consult. They'll be here for Easter, which I can't believe how, Easter is not far away. Pretty good day. I still didn't get through everything and still have the close some loops. She said LFG, and then this GIF makes me laugh. So I sent that GIF, if nothing else, to make myself laugh. I don't even know. I'm not sure what creature that is, but it brought a smile to my face. So I share that to hopefully inspire you into some action. And as a reminder that what we are providing those of you using Lead Deck and those of you following, whether you participated in the original deal sprint or you're doing the listing sprint, is those are designed to get you enough activity so that you're spending more of your time with the cards that you then put in your hand. In other words, we want to work our way up so that we're spending more of our time just matching up relationships we have and less of our time with the cold. But we got to start somewhere. And depending on the ebbs and flows, look, we all go through ebbs and flows in the business. You may have to go back down to the cold and restart it. So that's what the deal sprint is about. That's what the listing sprint is about. Next month, unless something changes, we'll be doing one that is centered around senior owners and building out a pipeline of senior owners for those of you who are interested in that. And then have those available for any of our Founder Club members or people that are investing into those sprints as a kind of like break in case of emergency. You can't sleep Sunday night because you realize, man, my pipeline's pretty empty. What's my plan for the week to change that? Because you can drastically change that in a very short window of time if you follow a proven plan and you implement like crazy. Because Sean and Wendy, they are doing it. They're not messing around. They're taking action. And they're reaping the rewards of that. Okay. Some updates specific for those that are participating in the listing sprint. Doggone it. I thought I had the right window up. I do. Okay. So Founders Club, folks that invested in the sprint specifically, we now have module 0. I mean, that's been available. Module 1, the replay of yesterday's Zoom is right here under day 1. Okay. Step 3 here. And then the day 2 training. And I just continue to be utterly amazed at Notebook LM. Because if I'm being honest, this video walkthrough is not my best work. Okay. Just being transparent. I maybe wasn't as coherent and clear as I sometimes am. And yet it took my transcript and perfectly laid out in an infographic exactly what I was trying to, it communicated it way better than I communicated it. And this AI stuff is wild. So I think this is a perfectly encapsulated what I was trying to communicate, that everyone in a perfect world will have completed by end of day today, which is at least having reached out to 50 absentee owners, making sure that you close the loop on those that are responding. If it's a yes, what's next? And that is outlined for everyone in module 1. If it's a no, remember, we go for at least 3 no's. Not interested. Okay, totally get that. Any other properties in your portfolio you might consider selling right now? If it's another no, okay, are you actively looking to add to your portfolio right now? Hard to get 3 no's. And if you get that no, you could even say, would you be totally opposed to me keeping you up to date on what's going on in the market here in blank area, whatever, here in McDonough, here in Charlotte, here in New Cumberland, because that's the absentee owner, that's the city that I'm reaching out to. I want everyone to have at least submitted at least one property on the instant cash offer platform, if for no other reason, just to see how that works. And all of this, Sean did a wonderful job of mapping this all out and even creating a little workbook for those of you who are interested. And then this is number 2 under day 2 is we've put this here again. So for those of you that aren't sure where to find it, we've put this here again where you can create your free account to have unlimited access to instant cash offers from institutional buyers, how you can submit the properties, how I prepare all of that so that I can then present the offers. This is an example of how I present that. And then this is how to edit and then send that to them. So all of that is in for those participating. And what I'm going to spend a majority of the time this morning is actually implementing, tap into text, call, and email the next batch that I have set up and ready to go of my absentee owners. Now, before I do that, I want to tease a little bit of what's coming tomorrow and Thursday on the Closers Cafe. So tomorrow, I'm going to share a different style of email I am sending to my existing homeowner database. In other words, everyone that I have in my bold trail, that I have their address and an email, a working email for. If I have their address and a working email, I'm going to do something a little bit different with those this week. And number 2, and I might actually do this Wednesday and Thursday, just 2 different variations. A slight tweak of how I am going to post on social off-market deals to bring inbound opportunities. And it is inspired by a conversation I had with Susan Roberts last week. So last week, Susan and I chatted, I don't know, it was Wednesday afternoon, something like that. I think it was Wednesday. And then on the Thursday session, we unpacked 2 of the 3 problems that Susan was having. Problem 1 was she was reaching out to investor buyers about an off-market 2 unit and not getting much response. So we did a deep dive on that. You can find that clipped version on Josh Shanley Coaching. It's in Lead Deck in a number of different places as well, because in my opinion, and the way I framed it is a cold email masterclass. In other words, if you want to stack the deck in your favor in getting your email delivered, getting it opened, and getting it read, that is, there's a lot of gold in that. And there are formulas that you can follow for subject lines, for the body, etc. It is specific to messaging buyers, cash buyers, landlord buyers, multifamily buyers, etc. But there are nuggets in there even for sellers as well. So that was number 1. Number 2, problem, quote unquote. Stephanie, it's at Josh Shanley Coaching. It's also all over. Like, we put it multiple places in Lead Deck. Since Stephanie asked where to find it. Just because I want the views. I want the views and I want the subscriptions. Here's where I'm going to show you to find it. Please go watch it on my YouTube channel, which is Josh Shanley Coaching. And I'm using a bit of a ridiculous thumbnail.
So it doesn't hurt you.
Yes, please watch the whole thing. Please like, subscribe, comment, etc. Where's the best place for me to find? Oh, hold on. Whoops. if it's just Josh Shanley Coaching, and it is. You guys just got a peek into my YouTube algorithm. It's a little all over the place. It's Hormozi, it's Gym Bros, and some other business stuff. But if you go to Josh Shanley Coaching and you go to videos, it's this one right here. Okay, that's the cold email masterclass. That's an AI generated image. I don't know. If nothing else, I'm making myself. I'm trying to up my YouTube game. I don't know if I like these AI generated thumbnails or not. The second problem that we addressed with Susan on that Thursday session is right here. So you can watch both of those. Please like, subscribe, comment, etc. on both of them. And that was answering her question, how and where can I find deals for a client that is looking for a property they can fix and flip? The third question or problem that Susan was asking for help on was her struggling with the laws or the rules in Indiana as it relates to off-market marketing or advertising. In other words, what can't she do if she gets an off-market seller, meaning a seller that doesn't have their property actively listed in the MLS? That's an off-market seller. Any seller who says, yes, I would consider an offer, and they're not actively listed. That's how I'm defining an off-market seller right now. It could be a for sale by owner. It could be an expired. It could be an absentee owner that you get them to raise their hand doing the listing sprint. And there is language in Indiana, like the real estate law, I think they're MLS. I'm sorry. It's their MLS rules around what they can and can't do. And so Susan was rightfully hesitant about not wanting to get in trouble. And so she had several back and forth conversations with the managing broker in Indiana. Susan's at EXP. And that was my recommendation to her. Like, we were kind of going round and round, but I was like, until you have a conversation with them, it doesn't really matter what I say. Because A, I'm not a broker of any kind. B, I'm certainly not a broker in Indiana. And C, I'm not your managing broker. And really, they're the ones that get to decide, am I going to support Susan if someone, gets their feathers ruffled about something or not? So she had back and forth conversations, and what she has gotten from her managing broker is that, well, let me just read it, actually, because I think this is useful. And I'm going somewhere with this. This is inspiring how I'm going to position posting tomorrow and Thursday off-market properties to bring inbound opportunity. So let me try and find this here. I should have had it teed up for you all. Bear with me. Okay. He says, I can send out mass email, post in Facebook groups, etc., but I need to take the slant that I'm looking for a buyer for X. Parentheses, no address or price. Not that I or we have an off-market property. I'm in no way to make it seem as if I represent the seller. He said to think of it as a for sale by owner, because that's what they all are. Like, if they've said I would consider an offer and they're not listed, they're a for sale by owner. Even if they're not listed as for sale by owner in Zillow, that's what they are. Until you take the listing, they're a for sale by owner, unless they're actively listed with another agent. And then in that case, it's an active listing. He said to think of it as a for sale by owner that I'm bringing a buyer to, and if there was a showing, I need the FSBO one-time showing from form signed by the seller. Thought you would want to know. So that is the angle I'm going to take and post those. That was a really long way to tease something I'm going to do the next 2 days, but I want to keep you on the edge of your seat. And quite honestly, I will likely make the first of those posts today sometime, so that I have it to share. and then I'll make a post similar to it. And I would feel it is my opinion, and this is not legal advice in any way, shape, or form, but the approach I will take, if this meets this criteria, it will likely be okay for all of you. Unless you're in a state that, I don't know, has even stronger language, which is certainly possible. And the bigger lesson in that I thought I would share is that no matter what the rules of the game are, there's a way to win. If a game exists, and that's all I treat this as, business, real estate is a game. If the game exists, there are rules that everyone is supposed to play by. Does it mean that some people cheat? Sure, but who cares? If that exists, there is a way to win the game. It's a matter of figuring out what are the rules that we need to play by and how can I structure it in a way that I can win. And so until we knew what rules we were playing by, we couldn't structure a way to win. Now we know the rules. So now let's figure out, how do we win? And also, I'm 100% certain that language in there will scare the majority of other agents away from ever even thinking about doing it. So, wow, there's a lot in the chat. Hold on. Am I missing anything in the chat here? Hold on. Yes, congratulations. Got that. Good. I just received this morning an email about senior owners. What do you mean, Marilyn? I'm not sure what you mean. I love Notebook LM. Already a subscriber. Thank you. If you're not on the MLS cannot find you. That's a good point, Mike. There are NAR real estate violations that could be violated, advertising, etc. There are broker rules, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But so I'll just tease this and then I'll show in practicality what it looks like. My posts are going to be to the effect, ISO, in search of buyers for the following properties. 2 units in this school district. Ranch home in this school district. 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhome in this school district. And what I'm laying out is I have this package of 5 properties that we're listing next week. And until we list them, and until I even get them coming soon, they're off market. So I'm going to use that as a reason to post and to feature in my deal of the week, etc. And so I'm going to use that in there. That's the way I'm going to frame it. I'll show you in practicality. Marilyn, from us or from somebody else? I'm confused what you're saying, Marilyn. I would love to more context, but for those of you wondering, like you can pull senior if you're in the Founders Club or you have access to Lead Deck through one of the plans, you can pull senior owners. And I did for those of you who would like this, you have to, here's how you can get what I'm about to tease, is you have to DM me or text me. DM me on Instagram or text me. Man, I can't get my finger. Right there's my cell phone. I put together a very detailed plan for an agent in my organization who wants to build their pipeline around helping senior owners, like very detailed plan. On Saturday, while I was waiting to get new tires on our car, some of my best, most productive time are things like that, where I literally am forced into, I'm in a corner at this place that I'm like, well, I can't do anything else. If you would like that, you can text me at the number on my screen, 717-571-0456, or DM me on Instagram. DM me on Instagram, and I will share that plan with you. Okay. Today, I am going to reach out to the next target audience that I have identified for the 3-day listing sprint, which for me is now specific zip code, out of state owners. And I think there are 20 some. I'm just going to go ahead and run. It's going to try and run 25. And after it runs, we'll see how many it actually returned. And I'm just going to tap to text, tap to call, and tap to email. Oh, it did return all 25. So what that means is these others that I worked none of them were out of state absentee, which is unusual, but lucky me, I guess. So with that, I've got 4, 10, 50, 25. I'm almost at the 100 target for the sprint. Once I run them, so I'm in the seller targets, the lead targets area, then I go to my deal deck and I can see the actual leads. Oh, it's not 25, it's 23. That makes more sense that there would be some overlap. What happens is as you run decks, they won't provide duplicates. So if they show up somewhere, one place, it won't show up another place. I keep forgetting about this enhancement that Sean made, but I didn't forget it now. If you click this little seller signal button, it will order them with the highest seller signal down to the bottom, down to the lowest. That's pretty cool. So you can't pull leads specifically by seller signal. In other words, you can't just go and say, I want all of the all of the property owners in 17070 that have a sell signal of 90 plus. We can't do that with the data. They just don't allow it. But once you pull it, you can sort by that. I will also let you know that not all properties have a sell signal. Sometimes it's NA, and if it's NA, you can see as I go towards the bottom, there are 3 or 4 here that have no seller signal whatsoever. I will also say that it is simply a data point. Well, it's a bunch of data points that the algorithm puts together for you. But what I mean is just because this sell signal, according to AI, is 14, doesn't mean that I'm not going to reach out to them, or B, that they won't potentially be interested. It's just using 800 data points on over 11 million properties to score and just increase the likelihood. So for whatever that's worth. Look at this. I got 4 of you texting me for it. Beautiful. Actually, 5 of you. I'll send that as soon as this is over. I'll send that. It's a Google Doc with a Loom video and a Notebook LM. It's a very detailed, structured plan for someone specifically that I think you'll all enjoy. Okay.
Did you send it to the person I'm thinking of?
Oh yeah.
Here in my market.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I sent it to her on Saturday. I know that she didn't look at it yet because I can tell that she didn't watch the Loom video. So I sent it to her again this morning and said, "Hey." Now she was busy with family this weekend, so I get it, but I wanted to make sure that she got it.
Okay. Thanks for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to switch over to my phone. And anytime I switch over, I always refresh. Okay. I always make sure to refresh because just make sure, like if you've updated a script or scripts, or you ran a new deck, which I did, it'll just make sure that you've got the most recent version. And also, this happens, we get 1 or 2, well, let me say, one person every day or 2 using the tool reaches out and says, hey, something weird's happening. And usually the refresh fixes it. Not always, but usually the refresh fixes it. Because if Sean has released enhancements or things like that, sometimes it just acts a little funky. So I've got my 23. And my current saved script is already relevant because that's the one I used yesterday. And it's my same bucket of absentee owners in New Cumberland, 17070. Now, one thing I've just realized here, that seller signal button that I hit on the laptop, it's not fixed. Meaning, if you do it on your laptop and then you switch to your phone to actually do the contacts, you have to hit that again. Okay. So I'm going to hit it again. And again, not that it matters, because I'm going to reach out to all 23. I don't care. It's just that, might as well stack the deck in my favor and load up the ones that, at least according to robots, are more likely to sell in the next 3, 6, 9 months or so. All right. So this first one, there is only one phone number. Out-of-state absentee owners, you are more likely to have to do the enhanced skip trace, because just think about it logically. They're not in the same location as the property. And the first layer of skip tracing is based upon the property address. Okay, that's the way PropStream works. That's the way PropWire works. It's the way batch data works. I mean, pretty much most tools or systems that have skip trace functionality, they're using literally the same service, the same process, and it starts with the actual property address. Our enhanced skip tracing is through a company called Skip Sherpa, and they use a completely different methodology that is more credit report based. These leads were not stacked, meaning these are just absentee owner. These are just out-of-state absentee owners. So they only cost me 1 credit. So even if I have to do the enhanced on all 23, it's still costing me no more credits than if I stack filters. So my point is, I'm gonna do the enhanced on probably all of these. And I still got no luck. No luck, unfortunately. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send direct mail to Elizabeth here. By the way, those of you using direct mail, we did a session on Friday for it. We can help you with the setup, etc. There will be an enhancement released with that very shortly, where not only are we going to push over the name, the mailing address, and the property address, but we'll also push over phone number and email. That way, when someone gets your direct mail piece and they scan a QR code and you get the notification that, I get notified, James Brown just scanned the QR code on this, this windowless letter or this postcard or whatever, it will also have James's email and phone number. Now, in this case, it will only have a phone number, because even the enhanced got me no additional contact info, which tells me that this is probably an older individual that may literally not have an email address. If I wanted to get crazy, and why not? I mean, the Closers Cafe, we like to get crazy here. If I wanted to do my own sleuthing, what I might try doing is I'm gonna use True People Search, and I'm gonna pop in the address of her, that is her mailing address. Now, theoretically, this should be part of the current skip tracing process, but I mean, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Oh, now this is interesting. This is interesting. According to this, the actual owner of record is deceased. I'm a little stumped. I'm thinking through, what would my next best step be here? Because the address where the mail is being delivered, so the mailing address, this is out-of-state absentee owner, and the mail for the taxes is being sent to the address that I just popped in here. And it's Carol and David Short. Well, what the heck? I'm going to give them a call. Let me see here. That landline looks like it's active.
Hey, Josh. Oh, you're on the phone. Sorry.
As soon as I'm done, go ahead. You can go ahead. Yeah, hi, my name is Josh Shanley with eXp Realty. I was calling, I think I'm calling Carol, maybe David, and I'm reaching out because I'm trying to track down the owner for the property at 228 Woodland Ave in New Cumberland. And it seems like the taxes are being sent to this mailing address. If you could give me a call, if you have any knowledge of what's going on with the property. I've got an out-of-state client that is very interested in making an offer on it. My direct cell phone is 717-571-0456. Thanks, and have a great day. Go ahead, Deb.
Oh, check the chat. I got David's cell number. I mean, I don't know. It says it was active. Hold on, let me click here. David 75 as well.
So that number
Yeah.
shows as last reported 2020, but I don't have any problem trying it. I mean, it's not. There's no harm in trying.
Well, here it shows February 6th of last year.
Okay. Well, good.
I'm in Fort Warren. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, see, it's dead. Well, I'm going to hope that direct mail does the trick. And here's, so a couple of reasons why I went down this path. Okay. Number one, leaving no stone unturned. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, because if you're the one that goes the extra mile in a scenario like this and you actually get a hold of the person, it is very likely that you get the business, if there's business to be had, because no one else is going to go to that extent. I'll tie this back to the opening monologue with Wendy. Wendy, I'm just going to reread part of this. Got one reply. They aren't selling, but the neighbor plans to move. Bingo. Called, spoke with the seller. She didn't wait. She was just like, oh, the door's open a crack. I'm open this thing. I'm shoving my way through. So whatever. I left a voicemail. I've sent direct mail. There's not a whole lot else I can do at this point, unless one thing I didn't look at was, well, actually, this gives me, watch this. This gives me another way to demonstrate how cool Lead Deck is. I'm going to go to Skip Trace over here. I don't know why I didn't just do that to begin with. Sometimes I forget how good our tool is. And I'm going to, what's the address? 12 Bayberry. I've never heard a street named Close. It's Bayberry Close and instead of road. Like what?
I ran into that here in Denver. There's this little block in a huge neighborhood that's named something Close, and I found out it's some kind of in the East Coast, like early days of America thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that seems kind of cool then, but
it's this creepy little block. It's like every house is perfect. There's nobody around. Like, is this a movie set? Or
yeah, weird.
It was so weird. Yeah.
Okay, so the first two position phone numbers. So when this is the manual Skip Trace. So I like using this if I'm trying to find contact info for an expired listing, or I'm trying to find I've used it most for that, or situations like this. And it works the same as in an actual card, in that the first position phone and email are the most likely to be accurate. And this is the mobile phone that I tried and it's dead. And this is the landline that I called and left a voicemail on. These emails don't look great to me. I mean, this is clearly not him, Arceli Carmona. Like, that's definitely not accurate. But there's no harm in me trying this email. And in the meantime, I'm going to run the enhanced skip trace to see if I can find some others. So I'm just going to manually send this email from my Gmail. Here we go. You know what? Actually, I'm going to say RE. What the heck is the name? It's 228 Woodland Ave, I think. Yeah, 228 Woodland Ave for David. Morning, David. I'm trying to track down the owner for the property at 228 Woodland Ave. And it looks like the taxes, the tax bills for the property are being sent to your address. Is that right? Reaching out because I have an out-of-state private client who'd like to make an offer on the property. Boom. And did we get anything else here? So we got a mobile that's DNC. Look at all these other ones. Holy smokes. Which is pretty common given that it's an out-of-state owner and it seems like the owner is deceased. Like in those scenarios, you will oftentimes in the deeper, oh, look at this. I think this is a good one. Short D49 at Yahoo. Okay. Okay, so that one's not good. It already bounced back, but what I can do then is I can just copy. Okay, I'm going to take a minute here and just reiterate why I'm doing this. I'm doing this intentionally to illustrate one of sort of the core values that that we've built Lead Deck on, which is go deeper with smaller, go an inch wide and a mile deep. And one of the inspirations of this was the fact that in order for me to get the number of conversations that I needed to get the amount of activity for me to be doing a deal a week, and I'm behind on my goal of 2 a week for this year, but I'm still committed to it. I had to start with giant buckets of data because we had to filter it down and filter it down and filter it down and filter it down, and then maybe get a few communications versus go deeper with smaller audiences and actually do everything humanly possible to get a yes or a no. Yes or no. So I can close it off and next. Most of the time, it won't take that long. And if I hadn't been narrating, it would have taken me half the time. Okay? But I wanted to illustrate. Will anything happen from that? I don't know. And to be honest, I won't know for several weeks because the mail piece will go out tomorrow. It won't get delivered until next week. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? Probably Monday or Tuesday. And sometimes people immediately respond to mail, but sometimes it just sits there and they're like, yo, hey, Carol, we should, maybe we should get back to this guy. And then, later in the week, they realize, oh, we just set that aside. So who knows what will happen with that? But might as well go deep. And it looks like that second email was actually delivered. It didn't bounce. So we'll see. Maybe we got his number. Okay.
Hey, Josh, I just had a quick question. For the buyer, are you using the fast cash offers? Is that who your buyer is that you're using for these?
It is. So my hierarchy when I'm doing this is that's like my default. And then when I get someone that says yes, the first thing I'm going to do is submit them there. I'm going to submit the address there. So actually, let me pretend, let's do this. Let me pretend that they've already said, yes, we'd consider selling, because I think this will be useful and valuable to everyone. And then I'll explain what I do next. So the default is I'm going to start there for several reasons. So I'm going to go here. My Wi-Fi was pretty good recently, but today it's not cooperating. And my laptop is dying. Should be affecting that. Come on. All right, I don't want to switch Wi-Fi's because that'll gunk everything up. While that's loading, I don't know why it's taking forever to load. I'm going to stop my screen share for now. And while that's loading, let me talk through. So step one is I submit them there. Why do I do that? Because I get 4 different AVM values, which gives me a sense of where we're at. And usually I'll have a general idea just by looking at the property. Oh, it's a 4-bed, 1.5 bath, and it's in New Cumberland. I pretty much have some idea of what the ballpark range is, but I can verify it with what's the Zestimate, what's the Realtor.com, what's the Redfin number. And I get those preliminary numbers, those preliminary cash offers from anywhere from 3 to 5 different institutional buyers or companies. Next, I'm thinking, do I have any portfolio buyers? Do I have any pocket buyers that this might work for? And then lastly, I can always pivot to my 7-day stress-free home sale. So that's kind of like my hierarchy. I always start with, let's see what the institutional offers look like, because it costs nothing. It takes just a few seconds when, Wi-Fi isn't glitching out or whatever. And then at least I have more context about the property. And in this case, I do also have at least 3 local buyers, cash buyers, that will make an offer. They probably won't be as good, at least on paper, as the institutional offers, but I can mention that in my outreach. So it did finally load up here. 228 Woodland Ave. So I'm going to start there. And here's how I would pitch this if or when I get David or Carol to respond. I would start with the out-of-state private client. And I would also plant the seed that I have several local investors who would be willing and able to make an offer and settle in as little as 7 to 10 days. And if maximizing the equity on the property is the priority, then we should explore the 7-day stress-free home sale. I don't know why this one doesn't qualify for quick buy. That makes no sense to me, but quick buy isn't showing up as an option for this one. So in this case, it's just the Zudilio and Zoomkasa. So what I would do in this case is I would, well, number one, I'd save it as a snapshot. And then once that's saved, I would deselect all but 2 offer options. Now it's glitching out again. All you do to deselect them is there'll be a little eyeball button here. And I would deselect all of them, but I'd leave Zoomkasa's Cash Flex and Zudilio's Cash Plus. Cash Plus with repairs, because this looks like it's probably going to need some repairs. Like I'm kind of making the assumption there that it's going to need some repairs. Maybe if I stop my share again, it'll populate and I can show. Stephanie, how do you pull more leads from your current deck? You just hit run now. And I think you can do that from either the target or the deck level. So these run now. It'll run if there are more left in your deck, it'll run the next whatever bucket. Sellers are default set to 25. Buyers are default set to 10. Okay, so this finally did. So I would deselect this one. It's going to take, oh no, it is. I would deselect all but 2 in this scenario. If there's a quick buy single close, I pretty much always leave that one showing as well. There just isn't on this property. Because as is cash, no nonsense. But generally speaking, at least on paper, preliminarily gets them more net than if I brought my local cash buyer. More red flag, or I'm sorry, more red tape and more work on my part, quite honestly, to get that to them. But better for the seller if it does work and make sense. Better for the
That was
property.
Shay's Whopper deal. Was
Yes.
a quick buy, right?
Yes, and I am going to get him in. We're going to do a deep dive case study on that. Who they were, what the scenario was, the steps in the process with quick buy, etc. But Shay he's in my organization. He's in Utah, and he closed one with quick buy in January, and his GCI on it was significant. And also, as or more importantly, the clients were really happy. Okay, so it wasn't just about how much GCI he made, though we are in business and we are we should strive to be profitable, and also the sellers were thrilled with the end result. Okay, does that help, Dana? Any follow-up questions to that?
No, that's great. I just wasn't sure if I had missed who you were using as your buyer for this.
Yep. So I would
Thank
say more often than not, that's the default that I'm going through. And then as I gather more information, then I might, okay, let me give you, I'm going to give one other example, and then I'm going to get back to, because I've literally made it through one so far. I'm going to get back to actually tapping away here. I had an inbound seller lead come. They must have called from my Google review, like my Google business profile or something like that. I asked him and he said, I saw you on the internet, I think is what he said. So it's like, and he's not very internet savvy. So it was going to be like, I was like, I'm not even going to try and reverse engineer. So somehow or another, that's how he came. And my immediate was, I'm going to run this property because I want to see what those have to say. And then I realized very quickly from information he gave me, the context he gave me, and looking at the offers, I had 3 portfolio buyers that I was going to take that to next, because it needs a lot of work. No one's lived in it for a lot of years. And it's going to be much more logical that my local cash buyer is going to, have a cleaner, better offer. Because when you take a property like that to an institutional buyer, you're just asking for it's just going to be very difficult. And in that case, it might actually net the seller less than the local guy that's got people that, they can clean it out in a day and this, that, and the other thing. So you use the context. And I guess maybe a lens to look through is this a retail nicest property that maybe needs some cosmetic, or is this like a full renovation? And you won't know that until you get some more context from the property owner. Mike said that Danielle from Zoocasa is very helpful. I would agree 100%. I recommend that people, when you're starting to use that platform, you should connect with Danielle and Cheryl from QuickBuy, just so when you're ready to submit a property, you already have, a little bit of a working relationship with the two of them, and you can schedule Zoom calls, or their numbers and emails are available right in the platform. Janita, no. Good question. Janita asked, are we having the Founders Club Mastermind today? I changed my default from 25 to 100, and it pulled 97 this morning. My deck is empty. Okay, well, hold on. Number one, no Founders Club today because we have the listing sprint Zoom at 12, so that kind of replaces that. But when you say you pulled 97 this morning, your deck is empty, something's amiss there. So I can either help fix it for you now if you want, or we can loop in Sean.
Okay. Either way is fine.
Well, let's do it now because I want you to be able to work while I'm working here.
Yeah.
So I gave you the ability to screen share if you're open to that.
Okay. Yeah. And my what was this? What else happened here? My folders that I created last week, right? They're now empty. I moved decks to my folders, and now they're empty.
Okay, are you looking
I'm not sure,
are you
maybe I
looking
got
deal deck or
caught up.
seller targets? Because if they haven't been run, okay, so you're
They
in
were
lead
run.
targets. Open the
They were
absentee owner listing sprint folder. Okay. So this is showing as not having run. You're saying you
Did
definitely
run
run
yesterday.
it. Okay.
I ran it definitely yesterday because I was texting back and forth with Sean yesterday, and we noticed that it pulled in 97, and he explained to me, you know, how it eliminated the 3 that were duplicates in another deck.
Okay.
Right. But I had 97 yesterday.
Okay. So go to deal deck on the left-hand side. Okay. Now go to, yep, they're there. You got 97.
So why were they not showing in the targets?
Because they won't show in targets. The target is, I'm trying to think of a good analogy here. Your leads don't show up in targets. Your leads show up under decks. Targets are, these are the people that I'd like to pull into a deck.
Okay. Okay.
But they don't show there. What you saw there is the total potential audience. And you illustrated something. It showed 100 there, but it only pulled 97 because 3 of those are already in another one of your decks. Or they're duplicates, meaning 3 of the 100 are multiple property owners. No, actually, I don't think that's, I'll have to verify with Sean which of those. But definitely if they're in another deck, the owner is in another deck, it doesn't pull. So
Okay.
they're there.
Okay.
They are there. And I understand maybe there's a better way that we could, you're illustrating something that is helpful. Maybe we just need to think through the better, but you'll never, leads do not appear under targets. That is just who do we want as a deck to be working.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right.
All right. Oh, I don't need to screen share. All right, on to the second lead. Oh boy, if only I didn't talk so much. Hold on, get rid of here. Okay, so I'm also noticing, I'll ask Sean if you hit this. So I went back to the deck, I had to hit it again. So I'll ask him if we can make it that once you hit that button for a deck, that it stays green. All right.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
would be good. Yeah.
Okay. So phone numbers on the DNC on this one, but the emails are very likely the right one. So I'm going to email this one. There's one potentially working landline, but it's in 4th position. And so I'm going to try it, but it's most likely a dead number. I just know from. I have 50 in targets and 39 in the deck. That's because it removes the duplicate, Stephanie. Yep, dead number. Dead number. So I'm going to add to mailing list. Boom. And we're going to move to the next one. Okay. Seller score 89. DNC. Mobile numbers DNC'd. And there's a landline. But I'm not going to call because it's Santa Monica. What time is it there? It's 7:30 a.m. there. So I'm not going to call, but I will email. And again, 2 Gmails, both of them have her name. Actually, they're exactly the same. This is a little thing, but just something of note. So it's her name dot and this. They're the same. Gmail recognizes those as the same. So that's not 2 unique emails. So don't send it twice, is my point, if you notice that. If it's literally exactly the same and the only difference is a dot between first name, last name, or last name, first name, it's the same email. I'm going to add them to the mailing list. Janita, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask a clarifying question with the difference between the decks and the lead targets. So if you start out with, let's just say 100 targets, right? And you pull 25, will that mean that you'll now have 75 left in your target to re-pull again?
Correct. It won't pull them again.
Okay.
And honestly, I think it makes sense to pull 25 at a time. For me, at least, like to avoid overwhelm. I'm going to pull 25. That's my bucket. So my bucket today is 23. It's not exactly 25, but you get the point. And that way I know when I finish that bucket, I'm good for the day. It's not a problem that you pulled 97 at once. I just know that could be a little bit overwhelming when you see that big, that big bucket all at once. Okay, so this is kind of, I'm going to email. This is definitely the good email for them. It's first initial, last name at Gmail. So that's definitely a good email. But it's a New York mailing address and then it's local phone numbers. So I'm wondering, or I'm thinking, most likely what is occurring there is that's the tenant. And I don't want to text the tenant. I mean, it's not a big deal if I text the tenant, but let's see if I can. Actually, let me try. I'm going to try the enhanced first to see if I get a number that I recognize as being. So I got more emails with that, but no new phone numbers. So I'm going to try. I did this on the laptop before, but I'll show on it works the same on your phone. I'm going to go to Skip Trace, and I copied the mailing address. So I populated the mailing address in Ithaca, New York, and I'll see if I've got. I wonder what's going on with that, because that's a different name coming up for that. Well, I sent the mail. I definitely sent the email to the correct person, and I'm just going to keep it moving along on that one because something seems goofy with that. Let's see here. So. All right. Oh, I got that one already. So 3, 4, 5. Matthew Kelly. Okay. Now this one maybe is the right email. It's kind of like a funny email, like they're trying to be clever or something like that. It's not his name, but it is a Gmail. And it's It's a Florida address, and the phone numbers are local phone numbers again. So I'm going to try the enhanced. And 443 number. I'm going to try. So I got a mobile number that I'm going to text, and then I'm going to send the mailer. Okay. Well, this one's pulling in the right phone numbers, but they're on the DNC, meaning it's a Ohio address. And I know that it's 5 phone numbers, all are Ohio numbers. So they're right from that perspective. And the first one that is not on the DNC is a landline. So I'm just going to go ahead and try and call that. What's the address here? 604 Hilltop. Yeah, hi, I'm trying to reach Roger. Roger, hey, this is Josh Shanley with eXp Realty. This call is admittedly out of the blue, but I was calling about a property it seems like you own in New Cumberland on Hilltop Road. Is there any chance you'd consider selling that property? We've got an out-of-state private client looking for properties in the area, and we're just reaching out to folks like yourself. Okay. How so? Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I'd be happy to put together preliminary numbers to see if we're even in the same ballpark. Okay. Okay. And that's net in your pocket. Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah. Well, here's what I could do, and really it's no trouble at all. I can at least put together what preliminary numbers look like. And, that way, if something changes or if at some point it makes sense to explore in more detail, you at least have an idea of where we're at. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, would you mind hanging on to my number in case anything changes? Okay. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay. Well, while I have you, do you have any other properties you'd entertain an offer on? Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the call. Thanks, Roger. Bye-bye. That was an interesting conversation. I don't know how much you guys can hear on those, but I intentionally don't put it on speaker because Pennsylvania is a 2-party authorization state, and I don't want to go asking, oh, hey, Roger, I'm calling you out of the blue, and also, would you be okay if I share our conversation with the internet? So he was like, that's a loaded question, this, that, and the other thing. My girlfriend lives there. He did tell me what he's got in it. And so if for no other reason than to use this as an opportunity to demonstrate what I would do next, because at one point he was like kind of it seemed like he was going to be open to me at least sending preliminary numbers. And then he's like, I don't even want to entertain that. I think it's because like he doesn't want, if I'm being honest, I don't think he wants his girlfriend to find any evidence that he is considering selling the property, because she's the one living in it and he's not right now. Because he must live in Ohio. She lives here. They must, whatever. Okay. I'm just kind of connecting the dots. So I totally get where he's coming from. And yet at least we can use it as an opportunity to pull up and see, based upon what he shared, is there any possibility that it would even make sense if something were to happen? While this is pulling, Stephanie, if you don't see a seller signal, it doesn't exist for that property. So it means on that property, it's NA. So of the 23 that I pulled this morning, the seller signal, there was a seller signal on 20 out of the 23, but there wasn't on 3 of them. You will see, at least what I have experienced, is certain filters and stacked filters have a higher seller signal hit rate and certain have none. Like I pulled a deck yesterday that I don't think there may have not have been any of the properties in that particular deck that had a seller signal. I don't know why. It's just information. It should not preclude you from reaching out. It's just another data point that, like one way you might use it is, if you're trying to be very conservative on the amount of direct mail that you send, for example, you might use the seller signal as a way to determine, do I send this person direct mail or not? Right? I mean, it's just information. I'm stopping the share to see, because it seems like when I stop the share and then reshare, nope. I don't know why it is. It's got to be my Wi-Fi that's causing the problem here. I'm going to stop my share again. He, for whatever it's worth, he told me 375, 380 is what he's got into it. And he really wouldn't be able to entertain anything less than that. And what I can see is this is the AVM value, 383, which is just a data point. It's one automated value. He's got a mortgage of 238, so he could theoretically entertain less than that. I think what he's saying is he's got that mortgage and he's put a bunch more money in the property, and so he wants to kind of feel like he's been made whole on it. Okay, here we go. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Zoom Casa Cash Flex. I mean, that's 354 versus 375. If we got to that point, I would pivot to 7-day stress-free home sale. And I would look for evidence in MLS comps for how we could get him to that number. And know that this one's a long shot, if I'm being honest. But it's a conversation. And for me, it's just practice. Like, it's just practice. Like, that's the way I think about it. I had a conversation. It is what it is. It's not, it's not a good opportunity right now, but it doesn't mean that it won't be at some point in the future. All right. This is another Jacksonville, Florida. I'm sorry. This is another Florida one where the phone numbers and emails both seem like they more likely match a tenant. So I'm enhancing. And it still looks like no bueno. So I'm going to send mail. I'm going to add it to my direct mail list. And I'm kind of curious on some of these, because one of the benefits of me doing this is we're looking for ways to make this thing better all the time. Like literally, Sean and I talk every day about how can we make this better? What can we do to make it more useful? And where can we, because sometimes there are ways that we can reorganize things or look at different ways of pulling the data, looking at the data points, etc. And so I'm curious if I do, see, this is who me see here. Okay, so that's the right, but I don't know why the phone numbers. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go back to my phone, and I'm gonna email the one that at least has the last name in the email, and it's a Hotmail account, which some people do use Hotmail. And actually, I'm gonna try two of the other emails that populated too, because there's really very little harm in that. Okay, here we go. Now we've got one. New York mailing address, mobile number, not on the DNC. I can tap to email. I'm sorry, I can tap to text. This is gonna be a hard one. Belkacem? I'm gonna try and pronounce it. I've never seen that name spelling before. And the mobile number might not be working. Mike says, if you think you have tenants, why not get names somehow and turn it into a Y rent when you can buy? Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think there's any harm in taking that approach, right? So you tap the text and you're sending the message as though you're sending it to the owner, and they're like, "This is the tenant." Oh, well, any chance you'd want to buy the property? We could help you with that if you're thinking about it. It is finally ringing. Yeah, hi. I'm trying to reach. I think it's pronounced Belkacem. This is Josh with eXp Realty, and I'm calling you out of the blue here, but it looks like you own a property at 403 Longview Ave, and I was just calling to see if there is any chance you'd consider selling the property or consider an offer from a out-of-state private client of ours who is looking to buy one like that in the area. I did text you as well. This is my personal cell phone. If you could, please let me know either way, whichever is easier, call or text. Thanks, and have a great day. There is also a landline. I'll give that a shot. It's like me, yeah. I mean, I don't remember. I don't remember how many years ago we got rid of our landline, which is, I think, most people, not most, but a lot of people at this point. My in-laws down the street, they still have a landline. Okay, no emails came back. So I'm going to, just because I am curious, I'm going to copy this and do the skip trace again on it, because I'm more just curious, in particular, on these out-of-state absentees, because they can be great leads, the absentee owners. And if we can find a better protocol to get better data for everyone, I think it helps everyone. I'm going to add it to my direct mail list. Why is it not copying? I guess I don't have to copy it. I could just. Whoa. All right, let me just type it in. 5136. That is not the right. $5136 30th Ave. Marine vendor. Well, next. Not sure what Might have to do some additional recon on that, on just this process in general. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. We've got one with multiple mobile numbers working. Landlines are a benefit during hurricane season.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Yeah, hi, I'm trying to reach, I think it's pronounced Yifang or Yipang. This is Josh with eXp Realty. I was calling about a property it looks like you own at 528 Windy Way in New Cumberland, and I was reaching out to see if there's any chance you would consider selling that property, or if you'd be open to an offer from a out-of-state private client of ours who is looking for properties in the area or in that area in New Cumberland. I did text you as well. If you could let me know either way, call or text, whatever is easiest for you. Thanks so much, and have a great day. So there are three mobile numbers. One looks like it's no good. I did send to the other mobile number. I'll try the fourth position landline, but it's most likely dead. Yeah, it's dead. So I'm going to send the emails. And I'm going to add it to the direct mail list. For anyone of our Founders Club members, anyone who has participated in any of our deal sprints, etc., if you want us to help with the setup of integrating Thanks with Lead Deck, we can help with that. Hello, this is Josh. I thought maybe it was somebody calling back from a different number, but just a hang up. All right, I'm on to the next one. I've got a good working mobile number.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Yeah, hi. I'm trying to reach Kristen. I don't know if I have the right number or not, but I was trying to reach her about the property at 316 Lafayette Drive. Just had a quick question for her. This is my personal cell. If she could call or text me back, 717-571-0456. I like to, when I'm not sure I've got the right number, I like to be a little bit mysterious. I've got a question. Okay. Because if that was a tenant or someone living in the property, because in some cases, in these scenarios, it's a family member or something like that, and they're living there, and I talk about an offer or selling it, you know, they may A, intentionally not share it, or B, it might create, like they may then go to Kristen and say, what, you're trying to sell the property? What are you doing? You know, so just, you know, it could be, I could be calling with a question about insurance or whatever, you know, that any number of reasons why. So just leaving it be a little bit more mysterious in those scenarios, I think is most effective. Tom, you had a question. Let's just, what do you got? I got a yes this morning. Oh, did you get in?
I did not get in.
Okay, that's
Um,
because you previously have an account.
Correct.
Yeah. Can you use a different email?
Both of them.
Okay.
Because remember, before I was on your enterprise account, I was with iList. So
I'll
I've got
get
both emails that were used.
okay. When we're wrapped up here, which I'm going to wrap this up soon, I will get Abs or Chandra to take care of that.
Okay, cool.
The yes you got.
Yeah.
Absentee
So-
owner. For those
Yeah,
that are
interesting.
curious,
So-
what and you may not even know, but what was the filter or the filter stack?
So this is interesting because this county here in Ohio, Union County. So it was my first run because that's where I live, and I did absentee. But what I noticed as I was going through the first 25, a lot of them were the tax mailing addresses. So I mean, like the lenders, you know.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, I think like a lot of the addresses that they had the owner living at was actually the lender address. Like it was going like the tax mailing address, like, you know, so the actual lender. Like
Really?
Rocket
How do
or
you know
whatever.
that? Because I haven't seen that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I was, and it's just this county because I got another county and I got some better info. But I was just Googling the addresses and it was coming back with, you know, these were big lenders.
Okay.
But anyways, one of the ones that I chose to message was actually had a tax default and an involuntary lien issue. So they responded.
Wait,
I
so who?
sent
The lender
messages.
responded or the individual
No,
responded?
The owner, I believe
Okay.
it's owner
Okay.
occupied.
Okay.
I do believe it's an owner occupant with the tax and lien issue.
Okay. So did you sort for absentee or you sorted for?
I sorted for absentee, but like I said, it was coming back with the lender addresses, but this one happened to be.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pause you for 1 second. The data
Mhm.
that we have is only as good as what's being reported by the counties or local areas. It's the best data you can buy, and also Tom is illustrating a point where sometimes there's nothing we can do about the fact that the county is reporting it a certain way, and also that could be an obstacle or an opportunity depending on how you choose to look at it. And if you're not sure how to figure out how is this obstacle an opportunity, that's one of the that would be a wonderful conversation for one of our masterminds or live here or things of that nature. So enter that in. All of that being said, it's an owner occupant, but they seem open to an offer.
Yeah, she said, what kind of offer are you talking about?
Okay, perfect. That is a perfect jumping off point for what we're going to cover in day 2 of the listing sprint, which I discuss in the training modules that were released this morning. And I'm sure we're going to have a number of different IRL examples, like what just Tom just shared, that we can dive into at noon. So given the time, and I've got to catch up on a few things between now and that, I'm gonna come in for a landing for today's Closers Cafe. Tom, I'll make sure that we get you squared away with the the free access to the instant cash offers from the institutional buyers. We'll get that squared away. For those of you who are participating in the listing sprint or our Founders Club members, noon Eastern is when we're having our day 2 live Q&A, etc. You've got an hour to maybe get more of your contacts reached, and then please bring your questions or things that you need help and clarity around at noon. Tomorrow morning, I will share my what I'm sending as my deal of the week email. We'll also share the variation that I'm sending to my homeowner portion of my database and the I need like a cool name for the organic social posting that brings inbound leads. But a different variation of that inspired by Susan's Susan's Indiana specific MLS regulations that hopefully anyone can then rip off and duplicate for themselves. Doreen.
Hey, Josh. I was successful yesterday in having everything canceled and refunded properly with what I discussed with you on the phone about my iList account.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're on the phone with Chandra or
I'm not going to call them. I don't have a way to call them.
Oh, you don't have a way to call them?
No.
I said I was successful in getting that done, but I would like to keep my same email because it's my business email.
Okay.
And maybe while you're on maybe I should call. I'll call
Okay,
Chandra.
but
or
I don't.
Abs.
Okay, I'm not
thanks.
calling Chandra or Abs. I guess is my point.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
they
thought you were
respond
calling
way faster by
Tom.
email.
yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
I mean, you
so
can
much.
try to, but I'm just literally gonna email about about Tom, and then I can email about you. Just confirm what email?
I'm pretty
Your
sure
Gmail
it's
or-
Politis- I'm sorry.
Your Gmail or a different one?
I believe it's politispartners@gmail.com. It's my business, not my Doreen Politis@gmail.com.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, everybody. Back tomorrow. Oh, look at this. Already got some replies. Oh, somebody asked, "Who are you?" Hi, who are you? So okay, I'm gonna hang on for that. Which is funny because it literally says who I am. Like, so how would you reply? Anyone on here? Hi, who are you? It clearly states in my email who I am. So should I just restate it, or how would you reply? Everybody's going to be like, you tell us. All right, so here's how I'll reply. Actually, what's it? I have no idea. I have no idea what this is going to spit out. But this is a fun little, this will give me something fun to use with, where's Decky? Down here. Ask Decky. Hi there. I sent this email. Why isn't it doesn't have my email? Oh, yeah, it does. Here it is. I sent this email. She replied, I'm assuming that's a she, Soraya. How would you respond if you were me? I have no idea what this is going to say. Look at this. Hi, Soraya. Totally fair question. My name is Josh. I'm a local realtor with eXp Realty. I reached out because I'm working with a qualified out-of-state buyer who's looking specifically for a home in that area, and your property stood out. Just to be respectful of your time, have you had any thoughts of selling in the next 30, or is it a no for now? If you're open to this, is really good. This is better than I would have come up with. Now, is it perfect? Am I literally just going to copy and paste it? No, I'm going to copy it. Okay. I'm going to copy it. Only because I know that formatting gets jacked up. I will often take something like this. I will pop it into, this is a text, a plain text editor, because I know if I edit it here and then I paste it in, it will keep the same formatting. And to me, when the formatting changes on an email thread, it just seems like scam, right? Like if font is one way and then you reply and it's like different, something, it just seems fishy. You know, is this something's going on here? Totally fair question. My name is Josh. I have my full contact info, so I don't have to say my last name. I'm a local realtor with eXp Realty. I reached out because I'm working with a qualified out-of-state buyer who's looking for specifically who, I might want to reword that slightly. I'm going to remove just to be respectful. I really like the response. It's just a little longer than I would make it. So actually, let's do this. Oh, it gave me a shorter option. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I didn't even see that it has a shorter option. Okay. This is what I'm going to paste this in here. I'm going to go ahead and hold on. There we go. The Wi-Fi gremlins are getting me today. Oh, there it is. Okay. My name is Josh. In Central PA. With eXp Realty. I'm reaching out because I have a out-of-state private client. I think that just sounds better than a buyer. Actively looking for properties in New Cumberland. And I wanted to see, and I was just curious, if you consider selling. If not, no worries at all. Just let me know. Either way, and I won't bug you. And out of state. Okay, I'm going to practice something that I don't, that I preach often and I don't practice enough myself. Before I hit send, I'm going to read it out loud to make sure it makes sense. Hi, Soraya. My name is Josh, a realtor here in Central PA with eXp Realty. I'm reaching out because I have an out-of-state private client actively looking for properties in New Cumberland. And I was just curious, I don't have curious spelled correctly, if you'd consider selling. I'm gonna break this up. ... And I was just curious if you consider selling? ? If not, no worries at all. I don't know why it puts these dashes in here. I don't know why it uses dashes instead of commas. And it's not just Decky. Like that. It's like AI does that for some reason. Like any AI, or a lot of LLM tools, AI based. For some reason, they put those dashes in there. That's nobody does that. Who does that in email? It doesn't even make any sense. Anyway,
You forgot the 4. Sentence 2 needs 4, yeah.
what's that?
4
Sentence-
property.
Sentence number 2, reread it. It says
Looking for. Thank
Yeah.
you. See, I could read it out loud and I just still missed it. Teamwork makes the dream work. Send. Boom. And whether or not you have access to Decky, use whatever tool you can. If you want ideas and you're just not sure what to say, that usually at least will get you. It'll get you over the the initial, right? Because like just even thinking of I don't know what do I say to that, right? It'll just get the juices flowing and you can correct, because I ended up making several changes to that, but I still didn't have to start from scratch. Okay, I will see those of you participating at noon in about 50 minutes, and Tom and Doreen, I'll get you guys squared away in the meantime. And for those that aren't participating, I'll see you back here tomorrow. Uh-oh.
Okay, cool. Josh, you want me to stay on, or are you gonna just get back to me later.
No, Tom. So like I'm gonna email that. They're like,
All right, cool.
that there's nothing I can do here live.
No worries.
Yep.
And I just, since I've sent some quick buy stuff in before, like, I did email Cheryl, see if I can get something back from her.